Good morning. Good morning. Actually, it's not morning anymore. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Celeste of Astrology by Celeste on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Heidi Tuggle, so nice to see you. Yes, yes. I'm just looking at the transits today. There's not much going on except Pluto stationing direct. Hey, Patty and Mystic Mermaid and everyone. Welcome, welcome. Oh, it looks like Kelly is here. Let me see. I'm so excited. Bits of Lunar. So nice to see you. I see Ridiculousa and K Word. Welcome, everyone. Yes, hi, Sally. Mhm. Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Hello, hello. We did
We
it.
did it. Finally. Yes, yes, yes. It's so good to see you
Oh,
again. How are you?
amazing. I'm doing well. Today has been a crazy day, so I pulled off in a church parking lot and we're doing it.
How funny. I love it. Yes, today is a bit of an intense day. So you found it to be really busy for you?
Oh gosh, yes. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited. And the new Edge magazine just came out and look who's right here.
Yay!
Introduce you.
So, Kelly, why don't you introduce yourself and the Edge magazine, please?
Beautiful. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge Magazine, and we are a holistic health and wellness magazine based out of Minneapolis, but we're in 30 states in Canada. So we are one of the people that actually went back to hard copy and print during the pandemic. And I'm a psychic medium and intuitive, and I'm just, oh my gosh, like la 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 all over all the place. I love all the modalities that we play in. Celeste and I were connected about a year ago, and I love your videos. I love the information as it streams through you and your beautiful knowledge. And it's just, I'm honored to be here.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. It's been wonderful doing my videos for the Edge magazine, and your team is just wonderful. So, yeah, so we're going to talk about the current energies, but I wanted to first get into your story. Like, tell us like what it was like understanding you were a psychic medium. Did it happen when you were a child or later? Anything you want to share?
Awesome, beautiful. So I had a big girl job. I was a VP of marketing right during the pandemic, and my mentor actually said the Edge magazine was up for sale. So it was basically it like blew up, and it was owned by a partner duo that were um, they were done. They were on fumes, right? It needed new life. And actually, as we've connected, they were supposed to just kind of be ambassadors and keep it going until Steve and I were ready for it, right? And I left my job that I was again marketing. I love small business, I love marketing, and I've always used my gifts and abilities in the corporate world rather than worrying about it like as I am now. And I realized that everything that I've done up until now was to lead us up to do the Edge. And I sold advertising out of college. I've worked for small businesses and large businesses, and I just use my intuition. So, like, of course, I was like the office that had the essential oils going and the dim lights and the line out the door of people that wanted counseling. Who knew, right?
But did you realize you were a psychic medium from a childhood, or when did
You know,
what?
I always had imaginary friends. Always had a lot of like knowings. I would know a song was on the radio before it
Me
was
too.
on.
Yes.
Right, so it's that stuff.
Yeah.
About 20 years ago, I was getting my hair done, and the lady's like, you need to meet my psychic Marine. And I'm like, okay. I'm always willing to try something. So if I'm at a carnival, there's a psychic, I sat my butt down and went, oh hi. But trying the different modalities was always fun for me. So I went to see Marine, and I basically just wanted to talk to my dead grandma. That's all I wanted to do. Like, let me talk to the dead grandma. And she came through, and like past lives came through and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, this lady's crazy. like, I don't know about this. Okay, I'm done. I don't ever have to do this again. And I remember walking out of her office, and it was like she put the key in the ignition and cranked it up. And I was all like, oh, oh. So I started connecting the dots, and then I became curious, and then I just started to kind of study. And rather than fighting the knowings, I started to embrace the
Mm-hmm.
knowings that have always been there. And then I just started to study. And it's like I look, okay, now my guides right now are showing me I sharpened my knives. And that's what we do, like with astrology. Like you even though you have the knowings and you're into it, you still have to study. It's a muscle. You have to work it. You have to, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
what I did, right?
Yeah, I think they're all different ways of reading the energy. And for some people, it just comes in like pictures or songs or what have you. For some people, like with cards or images, runes, things like that. And for I started like I've always been intuitive, but astrology really broke open the gateway for me. And then earlier this year, I got like a flood of psychic downloads, and it's been off to the races
Is,
ever
isn't it
since.
crazy? It's just, well, and then you go through the you're all excited, and if anyone wants to lean in, you're like, oh, okay, let's talk. And I've always been a person that strangers would tell me their life
Me
story. Like
too.
I can get people to, right, like without even
Why are you
thinking,
telling me?
right? I'm like, why are you crossing the street? Oh no, they're gonna come over and talk to me again. Like, right? My husband calls it Kelly counseling. Like it's always been that way. And then now, and so I was all excited when you'd say, I kind of have some intuitive gifts. People would be like, oh, and then I would tell everybody and anybody, kind of like Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, how she would go over and say, "Oh my God, your grandmother's there." I did a lot of that and realized the hard way that not everybody wants to hear about your gifts and abilities, right? Like they don't. They you need to, and that is learning kind of the that's where like studying and kind of learning the rules of the road is helpful, like, and etiquette. You don't just go tell everybody what you're seeing. Like, even though like I see cars on the road and I see spirits around the people, I don't have to go stop and tell them. No, but I did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a
Growing
while.
pains, no matter what field you're in or what have you, there's always growing pains to know what's the right thing to do or what's not the best the best avenue. But
Yeah,
yeah.
right. And then I would throw a cocktail in me, and then of course I'd just start talking to everybody. Like that was no, we can't do that, right? So it's learning, and then I started to learn energy work, and I went in and I have Reiki 2 and just different modalities, working on ancestral healing, and I actually started studying with Maureen rather than just being a client. And then that has really helped like mentor me into, there's protocols, there's, right,
Yeah.
there's times and
That's
places, and but it's I that my now animals are talking to me. I don't know about you if it's this new energy, but like animals are talking to me now, and it's like, woo, okay, right? Or babies. I was just traveling, and we were at actually I went with a client. We went to Disney World, and we were in line to go somewhere, and this baby couldn't have been 3 months old, and big blue eyes, and was just staring at me, and I telepathically was like, hello, I see you. And it went, hey, she understands me. So we just had this nice little conversation, and the parents were thinking I was a little not stalkerish, but I was just like with the child. And then I'm like, have a great day. So it's really interesting as you do come into, and we all have the gifts and abilities, Celeste. You know that we all do. Some people are accountants, some people are in marketing, some people are business. They're just lawyers. Like to be a trial lawyer, that's a crazy gift and ability, right?
uh-huh.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's just how we channel it now in this vessel in the human form.
Yes, yeah, you can say yes or say no to deepening your intuition. Yeah, so let's talk about the current energies.
Woo!
Um,
Let's just have a moment.
it is wild. This eclipse season has been just absolutely off the chain. What are some of the things that are some lessons or learnings or things you're seeing that you think it would be most helpful for people to hear
Can I
about what's going on?
alphabetize it?
Yeah. Or what's coming up?
Oh my
Like any thoughts
goodness.
you have about the election, you could just share
It's
anything.
off the charts, right? You know, the one thing that I really want to share with people is I think there's a lot of fear out there. That's one thing that I'm hearing the community, I'm hearing from friends, whether they're considered open-minded in like our community or they're not. I think there's that fear. It's that fear. Then you take the hurricanes that just came in and how they're just frothing things up, right? And these moons lately have been just like, whoa,
Yeah.
like wow. So I think I really feel, oh, I just saw the band-aids being pulled off in this season. Like it's like being ripped off, and it's time to sit with your truth. It's time, but I really want to share with people, don't let fear be like a wet blanket right now. Okay, I really believe that if you are here on the planet right now, there's a reason why you're here. There's no accident that we're here, and that we need to just kind of pop it in neutral mentally and just really trust. What
Hmm.
are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're all incarnated right now, and yes, it's there's always, from the astrology perspective, there's always Venus and Jupiter active as well as Mars and Saturn, the benefics as well as the malefics. Now we're in this heightened time of change, which is it's a difficult path to go through. But Pluto in Aquarius is here, it's coming, and it comes back into Aquarius for 20 years. And the opportunity is to have more power to the people. Now, it can be power over the people if we're not careful. Um, but I think we're going, as at least in the US, I really feel confident we're going more power to the people, which can be uncomfortable as well. But we've got to make changes. We can't just keep destroying the planet and having these chaotic storms, which the energy is very intense. And to talk about the United States, there was a new moon in the sign of Pisces. It's called the progress moon. So we have our natal chart, and then we can progress the chart to where we are now. And we had a progressed new moon in Pisces, which is a water sign. And Neptune's there expanding water right now, and Saturn's there bringing hardships from water. So this is the time we're incarnated in. And the lunar eclipse was across that progressed moon. So it's not surprising we're having all of these storms, and we've got to figure out just ways of how can we, if we can, take actions to plan to deal with knowing what we can change and what we can't and what the difference is. I think releasing control is going to be a big message of the next year or so.
And isn't the energy the same? It was at 1776. Was it like if for the
That's
US?
Pluto in Aquarius. Yes, last Pluto in Aquarius, we had the U.S. Revolution and the French Revolution and things like that, where people were. Aquarius is a sign that rules freedom, that rules like groups and organizations. Capricorn, we're wrapping up Pluto and Capricorn actually today. Pluto is stationing direct at 29 Capricorn, the last degree, to finish up the work that it's doing in this sign. And November 19th, it leaves for 248 years. So we're seeing all of this unearthing of things about government, big businesses. Right now, the Puff Daddy thing is where we're seeing, how individual people were like pushed down with these hierarchical Capricornian structures are hierarchical, whereas Aquarius are more flat, where it's more people have more say. So that's kind of the turn we're making. And the Declaration of Independence was a very Aquarian document, even though it was signed at the end of Pluto in Capricorn, but it
What do you
was
think about
forward
the Puff
looking.
Daddy? you touched on that, and I think that's really powerful. Tell me what insight you're getting.
Yeah, so this is a bigger cycle, and it's part of Pluto in Aquarius because Aquarius is opposite
Okay.
Leo. Leo is the star, the one, the performer, the person that everyone, wants to be around because they're either glamorous or talented or royalty in different ways, or have power. Well, Pluto's opposite that. So Pluto's opposite Leo. So it's unearthing and bringing things to light. And at the same time, on April 20th, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, abundance, it rules celebrity, wealth, royalty as well, it came and met Uranus on this fixed star Algol. And Uranus is sudden breaks. Uranus awakens us to things. And Algol is called the beheading star. So we're seeing and Uranus rules stress. So we're seeing all of these people who are formerly very Jupiterian, where they had everything they want, comfort, attention, uh, people feeding them grapes, are now like nervous and scared about how their lives of ease, overindulgence, and treating others as though they don't matter are coming to light with the dual forces of Uranus starting, Jupiter Uranus starting a 13-year cycle, and Pluto in Aquarius starting this 20 years transit through that sign. So yeah,
So what are your what because you're really leaning into your gifts and abilities intuitively, what are you getting about like Puff Daddy's soul? Like I have a feeling he signed up for this. Like there was right, like, and what you just said about the abundance, I mean, I'm assuming that he's done or said or met or whatever more than 99.99999% of the world's population, right?
yeah.
And it's almost like there's total extremes. There is that and then now it's going to be different. So what's your intuition telling you?
My intuition is telling me that he is just such a brutal. He has Mars at the 29th degree of Capricorn. Now, Mars in Capricorn, it's exalted there. And Mars is how Mars strives, Mars achieves, Mars competes, but it also rules sex and violence. And I just was watching a documentary earlier and I put it on Threads, where his father was killed when he was young, and apparently this documentary was saying that his mother, in addition to being a teacher and something else, was a prostitute and brought people into their home. And so that might have started his behavior,
If that's
this
your normal, if that's what you grow up with,
mhm,
then as you get older and it might evolve into something else,
mhm.
it feels comfortable, even though you know what I'm saying with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's very, very dark inside. Very, very, very dark inside, and really gets off on hurting people. So that's my take on him. Is that's what I get intuitively and looking at his chart. He has Mercury and Scorpio opposite Saturn and Taurus. And Taurus and Scorpio is the axis of pleasure, power, and resources. Yeah. And so I think and Mercury is how we think and communicate, and Saturn is wants to
Yeah.
control. So he wants, and Scorpio is about like sex, and it can be about apparently he shared videos of people he'd abused, like using that to control people, and just really liking, like he's someone who probably liked, putting a boot on someone and twisting it. That's what I get
You
from
know,
his
I watched.
energy.
I've really kind of stayed away from it, but there was a video of him and his girlfriend, and they're like in a hotel
Yeah.
hallway,
Oh
and he's
yeah,
trying to get
he's
away.
attacking her.
That's the
Yeah.
right. Here's what I picked up on it, and it was really interesting. What he did, one-handed in a towel, just showed that this was not his first
Yeah.
rodeo with it. right?
Yeah.
He just, it was really, that's what I picked up on. And supposedly, and I don't know if this, but she had just walked in on him with another person, and she grabbed like the purse or whatever, and I just, it was sad to watch. It was just,
Hmm.
but I looked at it, it was like, he's this is kind of normal to him. Like there was, yeah, but again, he's in a towel, but one-handed doing all this stuff, and it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's too bad, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But
And every sign has shadows and light. So I want to make
straight
it
up,
clear, like Capricorn has very positive energies and he's been very successful,
absolutely,
hardworking, came from nothing, built this empire.
yep,
But yeah, he let his, rather than dealing with his demons, he just let them, it sounds like, just run
yeah,
wild. And like when you see Usher, who was sent to live with him, and this is again like adults sending their kids because they want this access to power, to fame, money. Justin Bieber was also sent to live with him. And both of them, you can tell when they're talking about it, about how horrific it was to be around his energy and seeing some of the things that he was doing to other people, and what he did to them, I don't know, but it's, yeah, you can see it's, Usher was talking about how, hey, I just wanted to make music. I didn't want to be at these parties or doing any of this stuff. And yeah, but there are people who are just complicit, who like maybe they weren't doing anything, but they went to the parties and they ignored it when they saw, stuff going on. And there are going to be a lot of people. There's a big net. A lot of people are going to be caught up in this,
that
and
I
some very well-known people too. Yeah.
absolutely, I totally agree. I was listening to the Howard Stern show, and he was invited to one of Puffy's parties, and he was not allowed inside. So imagine someone like Howard Stern, who, is well known enough, right? I would
Uh-huh.
circles, wasn't allowed to go inside. So there's something going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think Puffy's just one of them. I do. What's your vibe? Like, I think, like, you really touched on the whole like fame, and when you were saying that, I was seeing like the child stars, and that their parents were not only pushing them, but like kids could have been the breadwinners for the family, and there's that fame. I feel Hollywood is really going to lose its luster. I don't think people are going to be as drawn to it. I think that I have this weird feeling that people are just going to kind of shift a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's part of Pluto and Aquarius, realizing the rot that lives in that, there's, oh, I forget, there's a book from like the 20s or 30s about Hollywood that talks about, how, it's all that glitters is not gold. It's this shiny thing, but underneath there's so much rot. And there was that Nickelodeon, we've been seeing, this is all part of Pluto and Capricorn,
Right.
exposing all this stuff, the Me Too movement. There was this documentary about Nickelodeon and the abuse that was going on with these children on these children's shows. And now this music industry thing, yeah, it's all part of unearthing, exposing, and in order to bring these things to light, to bring judgment and recognition and moving on. But fame, money, it's a seductive type drug.
Seductive. That's a beautiful word to describe it. It is. It's really seductive. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's something that's very dark, and it's going to be a big part of next year, because the North Node will go into Pisces, and Pisces rules music, film, and yeah, all of this stuff. His trial is set for next May, but
Oh, so he has to just sit in jail until May?
yes, they're not letting him out of jail, because so he's getting a taste of his own medicine about being, dominated and all of this kind of stuff. It's very karmic, and Pluto is on his Mars right now. So that's like he's feeling the oppression that he put on other people, and having all of his secrets and everything exposed. Yeah.
Woo!
And oh, let me tell you this. on December 6th. So there's two things we should really be looking for this story. We're going to hear more and more. But no, okay, November, I think it's 2nd or 3rd, right before the election, Mars goes into the sign of Leo. And whenever a planet enters a sign, you will see things of the nature of the planet and the sign. So I imagine like somebody is going to be potentially exposed, or there's going to be something about this because Leo's the Hollywood people. But on December 6th, Mars is going to station retrograde at 6 Leo and then pull the band-aid back, and we're going to see all the rot underneath the surface that's there for and people who have planets in early degrees of Leo, like Beyonce is one. And just this week, there was some jaguar, right? Some celebrity, some singer who went on Piers Morgan, but her interview was pulled because Jay-Z and Beyonce sued. But there's going to be something about them. I
Oh,
got
oh,
this. I
oh,
got
you
this
think?
download earlier this year that Beyonce was going to want a reading from me, and I was like, "What?" But I think that was my mind knowing her chart, saying, "This is coming for her." Something stuff that she doesn't want out there. I don't know what she's done or anything.
Why
I
would
don't
you
get.
lawyer up so quickly if you had nothing to hide? Is my thing.
Mhm,
But you know what? This is their brand. This is their yeah. I have a feeling kind of like Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't the. I looked at that he and I always say her name wrong. Giselle,
yeah.
were kind of the tour guides, and it's who they were connected with and who they were hiding, which is, we don't know who they are. And I think he was just kind of the cruise director for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And allowed a lot of those different things to happen, and he got to benefit as well, whatever. But yeah, I think, and I think it's like, we're not trying to go too dark today because today's powerful, but abuse, people being abused, whether it is emotionally, physically, verbally, whatever. I think that's been going down for so long. And I think
Yeah.
we are finding our sovereignty and we are talking about it. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah, yeah, and I should clarify. I think I don't know if we'll find out anything about specifically Beyonce. It's her husband that people are that's going to affect her when his
How old
stuff
were they
potentially comes to.
when they started dating?
I have no idea. It's been a long time,
Let's just
but
say I
they're
don't think
just
she's
two. There's
18.
a lot of people. Yeah,
Yeah, but you know what? And her mom. There's an interesting thing with her mom that I don't know. There's an energy there too. I just can't put my finger on it. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So people who have done things will be coming to the light. There'll also be, just being there, there'll be people whose reputations are impacted, but we'll see. I hope, feel like it's going to be for the greater
right.
good for
Right.
some of these people and victims to get some feelings of justice, and that, especially the people who speak up, that it's not been in vain. But apparently, this has been a known thing for decades. I mean, I knew he was like bad boy entertainment, but I hadn't been paying attention to his stuff. But yeah, he's been accused of stuff before, but this is just finally the time where his karma came due.
Watch some
So,
interviews with Cat Williams. He goes
oh yeah.
off, and 50 Cent goes off. I mean, they've been telling us for years, but it's like, I don't know. I keep seeing kind of a parallel to Hugh Hefner. Like he was doing some really dark stuff,
Mhm.
like really
Oh yeah, Hugh
stuff.
Hefner, very dark.
Like,
Yes.
right, like, okay, right. So it's just, but it was always kind of done in the shadows, but then always like in front of us, and I think
Mhm.
people just kind of hope that it's not true. And now we're kind of like, enough people are coming out saying, yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I think the casting couch has been a well-known thing, but yeah, more of, you know, and it's a deeper conversation. Sometimes people, it's the whole selling your soul to the devil. The devil card in tarot is representative, like, also of Capricorn energy, like the materialism of life and being willing to shackle yourself, to 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 have access, or getting caught up in you know the drugs or the lifestyle or this or that, the other thing. It's yeah, yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
gonna be
Oh,
interesting. This is gonna be an interesting next year. I believe. You're right.
oh, definitely. We're having so much changing energy next year. We're having Pluto goes into Aquarius, and we've already seen some of that. That was like AI started. The chat GPT was one of the things that came to our attention right when Pluto went into Aquarius.
Right.
We're also seeing massive changes of people with all of these wars all over, where millions of people, it's wars and like climate change stuff, millions of people being displaced. That's a big thing about the North Node going into Pisces. It rules refugees, people who are homeless, and yeah, we're going to be seeing expansions of that based on what we've seen with the North Node in Aries, with this amplification of conflict. But Neptune and Saturn are also changing signs into Aries, so that's going to be a big shift, and we have the opportunity to get grounded spiritual practices to help us manage these energies. And Uranus is going into Gemini,
Okay.
so that's going to be a lot more technology changes that are just mentally destabilizing and intense. But
So,
Saturn and Neptune and Aries is a little worrisome.
what happens right before the election? Isn't there some sort of shift like 3 days before the election?
So before the election, Mars and Pluto are opposite each other. So Mars is in Cancer, in a sign it doesn't like to be in. It's called a sign of its fall, where it's like in a hole, in a ditch kind of energy, and like frantically fighting to get out of it. You can think about it like that, but it can be about emotional reactions, because Mars is how we take action. Cancers is a water sign. It's emotional, and it's ruled by the moon. So the energy changes every couple of days. So it's like it's opposite. Mars is in fall in Cancer, and it's exalted in Capricorn. And Diddy has Mars in Capricorn, where it has in Capricorn, Mars has the ability to stick it with things and go through hard things and just hold the energy to achieve and succeed. Whereas it's more flailing in um in the sign of Cancer. And we're also seeing all this like psychological warfare kind of energy. Like, you can think about the debate with Harris and Trump. I mean, she just psychologically out, yeah, dog walked him with her attacks. I mean, it was just something to behold. Anyway, but Mars will be opposite Pluto, the higher octave of Mars, both at the 29th anaretic degree of crisis and decay. So there's this culminating intense energy that is coming. I wonder if it'll have to do with Iran and Israel, or that might be next week. But yeah, well, you see this real tension in terms of an amplification of anger, violence, just trying to get something done so hard that you don't care about what anyone else needs. Can be like that Mars Pluto energy together, but it also could just be like stormy weather too.
Right.
We've been seeing that with Mars and Cancer, and there's a lot of planets in water signs right now, and the hurricanes are part of that.
Yeah.
And
Those. I mean, I just went to Florida for. I traveled with a beautiful friend and client of mine, and we went in like right as the hurricane was making landfall. We and then took a cruise on the Atlantic side rather than the Gulf. And there was some rough waters, but it wasn't that bad. But it was like we snuck in between the two hurricanes. It was crazy.
Mm. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's intense. So we'll see what happens. What happens, but that's a culmination, and then Mars will go into the sign of Leo. I feel like for the U.S., this is energetically just
Push
the
and pull.
battle the
Yeah,
battle about emotions around the election. There can be more storms, but that's what I'm feeling most. Earlier this year I was worried. Let me see what you think, that a foreign adversary would try to deploy some new technology to cause chaos at the election that maybe would cause problems with communications or what have you. Do you feel anything around that? Around
absolutely. I think there's going to be every right. Like, okay, how does Trump get shot at and moves his head at the right time? I think there's a lot coming in, whether it's for I I think we are in for a wild ride for at least the next month. I think it's going to be crazy. I really do.
Yeah.
Like,
And
right.
what do you think about the election? What do you think is going to be the
Do
story?
you know what? I so it being in my magazine, I get both sides, right?
Yeah.
I can see it, and I try to be very neutral and very curious with it. My big thing right now is I just want to know the truth. I
Uh-huh.
just I want to know what's really going on. Um, and I'm curious to some of the things that Trump's doing. I'm curious on some of the things that Kamala's doing. I'm just kind of sitting back and I'm observing. I have to say I've turned my TV off though. I am
Mhm.
not, and that's something that I wanted to ask you of, what tips and tricks can people do to not get sucked in the undertow of everything, that because the media is amplifying everything.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to do my own research. I'm really wanting to do, this is one of the first times where I'm just I want to know more rather than just voting down party lines. I'm wanting to know a little bit more about X, Y, and Z. I think it was interesting that Robert Kennedy was kind of in the mix, and then he went to a different side. I'm fascinated by what's going on. Um, I'm very, very curious. I don't know what's gonna happen. Honestly, I see. I think astrologically, what I've heard is Kamala. Is like this is her this is her election to lose. She's so set up so beautifully for this divine feminine power and the energy. But then there's the Trump loyalists, and I just got back from the Wyoming, Dakota area, and those people are gonna do everything they can to see him back in office. So it's really interesting, and that's why I've turned the TV off, and I'm just trying to put myself in a bubble and just kind of float through this. And um, right? I mean, I know I
Yeah.
didn't get the answer, but
Yeah.
that's how I'm handling this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important. Like, advice I give people especially is, like, if you don't want to hear it, turn off the TV. Like you said, look to sources that you can trust,
Yep.
to do your own research, and what matters for you, I think is really important. I highly recommend being circumspect on the internet, especially like social media, about the comments section. There, you don't even know if that's a
You don't.
person that you're talking to. Do not get into any fights with
No.
anyone in the comment section. So, or don't try not to be swayed by them. It's better probably not to even read them, because they could be sitting in Russia, could be sitting in China, just trying to spread disinformation
Absolutely.
and spread conflict and causing fights. I have already predicted I think Kamala is going to win. I got it, came in heavy to me. Um, well, in April, I got Joe Biden was going to have a health issue, and it was just like, Kamala, you can do it. I just got that, and then earlier I got that she was going to win, and then something about a landslide. So I think that's the hurricanes, and that Trump will sue in the courts to try to I got delay the result. The results will be delayed because, and I think it's because of him wanting to redo the election because of states that were disenfranchised will be the legal argument because of Hurricane Helene.
Right. Well, and the last election, it got mucky too.
Yeah.
So I could see how he'd be like, I don't want this to happen again to me. So yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
it
totally.
doesn't matter. Unless he wins, it's not fair. I mean, back in the he lost an Emmy or wasn't nominated for an Emmy for The Apprentice. And he went on and on about how it was rigged and da 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 da. Nothing's ever fair unless he wins. That's just my take from
Sure.
watching him from
Yeah.
afar about his MO. Yeah. So no matter unless he wins, he's going to try to overturn it. And he's not going to be like Gore or anyone else or Hillary Clinton and say for the better of the country, I'll step down. No, he's going to fight. He's going to fight it till the very end, to regardless. Yeah.
So how
So that's what
people
I'm saying.
how can people utilize astrology? How can people utilize the tools that are available to help them get through not only the next month, um, but going into the new year? What's your advice?
Well, I love and it's in the link in my bio, an astrology calendar, a digital astrology calendar. It's called Wise Guys. So you can see what sign the moon is in and help stay present. And I think using astrology is a great way to stay grounded. You can yeah, see what aspects, know what rainy days are coming or sunshiny days, use it to plan for less chaos and upheaval. It can help you be prepared and aware and make it easier to surf the tides. And transits are transitory. So like sometimes you have a horrible day, but it's a Mars energy. And like, okay, Mars energy comes in fast and then, it's kind of gone versus especially when it's coming to your chart like Saturn can be okay. I know I've got a rough month where I'm going to have extra responsibilities, I'm going to have extra duties, so I'm going to be mindful and knowing when it's like kind of at the end of the road. That helps navigate these kinds of things. So I think, yeah, using astrology, just understanding the transits as well as with your own chart could be really helpful to just stay in flow. And then like witnessing, I think is really powerful. Just seeing how things unfold and understanding the patterns, thinking about like, because this eclipse season hit your chart. The eclipses hit your chart the same way they did in 2005 around this time. So what was going on in your life back then? What is going on in your life now? How is it similar? How is it different? What themes are repeating? I think can be really interesting. How have you grown since back then? Um, and how are you handling the energy? It's different but the same because the eclipses were on the same part of your chart, but the rest of the planets keep moving. So yeah.
It's just and I love like how to yes, you could say I have a really hard couple weeks coming up or a hard week or a hard day, but it's utilizing astrology to be able to say, okay, you know, maybe tomorrow I just and backing up, I've been really wanting to sleep a lot lately. I don't know about you,
Mm,
but oh my gosh, by 9 o'clock at night, I am ready for bed. Like, oh my goodness. And I've
yeah.
been wanting to get into nature, wanting to go barefoot. So like every day I'm starting just like walking into the grass. I live in Minneapolis, so my time in the grass is limited, but finding trees and finding that grounding has been really, really, really beautiful. Drinking a lot of water. Oh my gosh, I can't tell people enough. Drink water. Surround yourself with goodness. Keep it simple. That's another thing. Is just I'm really trying to keep everything as simple as I possibly can.
I love that. Those are great. Those are great. Sleep more, drink more water, eat healthier, and manage your energy. Know when you need to turn off the TV or the internet or whatever, the social media to ground yourself. Meditate. Yeah.
And
Let's, oh,
could be just and I'm I'm really trying to work on technology too, like, right, I just, even with kids, I have two teenagers, and it's just, my daughter had a sleepover last night, and they're right next to each other, just on the phone. And I said, girls, you're right in front of each other. Turn the phones off. Like, right?
talk to each other.
Talk to each
I'm so thankful I did not grow up with a cell phone.
Me too. Right?
Oh my God, it's so attention. Okay, there's some questions and comments. So
Go for
why
it.
don't we go through them?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so Savantra is asking, what does it mean for Leo sun? So Pluto opposite your sun. And thank you, Interfacto. Yeah, it can show you your weak points and like some oppositions come in through other people. So you may feel like you get in power struggles. Pluto rules power dynamics, where you feel sometimes when Pluto's opposite you, it can be humbling. Something could happen that you feel humbled by, or even humiliated by, and it's Pluto opposite your any planet. It's like it's like a year to 2 years, so it can just really bring you to in face with some of your shadow energies. That can be like someone tells you something, or you it comes up within you yourself. But it could also be deeply healing. It can
I was
unearth
just about to
things.
say that. That is like, don't be scared of your shadow side. Like,
Yeah,
don't, like, embrace it.
i
Like
i,
sit with it.
I love shadow work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, bring it on. And the thing is, that's where I think breath work comes in, and that being grounded, um, and that trigger. Like, I mean, have you ever been like doing something, and then all of a sudden you're really mad, and you're like, well, where'd that come from? Holy cow. Oh. And it's taking that time to sit there and just go, okay, is this me? Is this a collective? Is this some shadow work I need to do? Like, okay, where is this coming from? Rather than just winding up. I think some people just wind up, and it's just crazy. I'm sorry, I interjected when you were giving this beautiful person an answer.
Oh no, that was great. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Interfacto commented with Mercury opposite Saturn and Mars at 29 Capricorn. Diddy may be sadistic. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Oh,
Hi,
you can
hi,
see it in
Cindy.
his eyes. Have you ever like I can tell a lot about people's their eyes.
Mhm.
You can just there's just something with his eyes that just is not right.
I've never been attracted to his energy at all. Like I like a couple of his songs, but that's it. Yeah. Okay, we talked about, so, yeah, the handlers have yet to get caught, Patty, like Clive Dave, like in the high, like the record label people who allow all of this stuff to go on, like Clive Davis and what have you. Um, yeah, I'm assuming he knows what's going on. Yes, Shannon, I agree. Shannon thinks there's a big blue blowout. I agree. I think so, but I think, it's the Supreme Court may be uh, involved deeply, and what are they going to decide is the thing that I feel like we won't know necessarily who the president is. But I think there is going to be. I think a lot of people who are not being polled, that especially young people, I mean, seeing this with the potential for their futures, they want to be able to breathe clean air. And do they want all the regulations going away? I don't think so. We'll see.
You know what? I would just encourage, first of all, everyone vote.
Yes.
It is an absolute honor that we have. Oh, look at the little thumbs ups popping up.
Yeah.
Like, vote, like, really. And but but educate yourself. Don't just get the buzz.
Mhm.
Don't just get it from like what Celeste said, talkie on social media. You know, if there's something that's really close to your heart, research it and find out what your candidate's stance on, and get it from a reliable source so you know that you're making the right decision. Also, you know, this president, whoever it is, they're not going to be your next door neighbor. You're not going to take them out to dinner. You don't have to be best friends with them. Have them align with what's best for what you feel that is the best for our country, our citizens, our planet, our future generations, right? And um, that's what I would recommend to people is just like do the research, but do get out and vote.
Yes, yeah, know your values and definitely get out and vote. And if you don't vote, you can't complain about what happens. And yeah, it is what I would say. Yeah. And even more important than voting for president is voting for your local leaders, your city council, your mayor. These are the things on the local level that are so important. And yeah, and we put all this attention on the top of the ticket, but the
Yeah.
decisions that impact your life are made on the local level.
I was
Yeah. Oh,
thinking about joining. I was thinking about running for city council next year, and then I'm like, "Ooh, would they really want a psychic medium?" And then I was like, "Wait a sec."
yeah. Do you know who Rachel Lang is? She's a city council person, and she's an astrologer and a psychic. Yeah, in Ojai, California.
Good
Yeah.
for her. Okay, I might reconsider because I
She's
think
a
I'd be
role
great.
model. Check her out. She's a role model for getting involved civically. Yes. Meg Foy said you ask great questions. Yes, yes. Teresa liked our advice. And let's see. Mm,
I love that.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you still, Yvonne's worried about certain states' voting boards. Yeah, there are all these people who have been put in place. This is why it's so important to pay attention
Yep.
locally. Like there's been a lot of talk, Georgia, like there that people may be saying, oh, we're just not going to certify this county or whatever. And then the whole state can't be certified. So yeah, there could be some stuff that comes up. Yeah. Mm. Ah. Yeah, people have died for the right to vote. Yeah, as a black woman, there is no way after, my, you know, people fought
Oh,
so hard,
oh
where
God, yeah.
dogs were set on them, beaten to get the right to vote so that I could have the right to vote. Yeah, no way am I not
Oh,
voting.
heck no. Like, right?
Yeah.
So we can't. I was in the Dominican Republic, and I just realized. I mean, we were blessed to be able to hire someone to just. We wanted to do the local experience. We didn't just want to be on a tour bus and see all the shiny. And this beautiful gentleman took us to places where I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt so grateful for not only being an American, being a woman that was educated and that owns a business. I'm also a psychic medium that I get to do what I love. Like how many people are do X because they have to and they have to bring in money to have their family. And yes, we have to do that as in our roles, but we get to shine our light and we get to be heard. And what a blessing.
Yes, it really is. Yes. Well, we're up at the top of the hour. So tell people how they can find you, how they can get the Edge magazine. It's online as well as a physical magazine. So why don't you tell or advertise if they want?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Okay, edgemagazine.net. There's a couple of Edge magazines out there. One of them is a gaming magazine, so it is not. This is Edge, and we are be curious, be connected. It's a great and we are in print, so you can subscribe. And I think it's like $33 a year for a subscription, and we hand mail them to everybody. We have sacred geometry, so everything has this high vibe to it. We charge it with crystals, so that's amazing. My email address, just in case anyone wants either to contact me or they want a reading or anything like that, or just say hey, is Kelly, Kelly, at edgemagazine.net. And I also have the Being Curious show, which you were on.
Yes.
And that is on all the podcast platforms. And we just talk about everything all over the place. So that's always a fun one. And all the social platforms, just look up Edge Magazine, you'll see me, and you'll see a little butterfly, and that's Edge Magazine. So that's how you find me.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for coming. I will tag you and invite you to be a collaborator if you want to put this on your wall
I'll
or
smear
edge
it
wall as
everywhere,
well.
Celeste. Come on, everywhere. And I simply adore you, and I want to thank you for being you. And you shine such a beautiful, bright light into this world. We are so grateful for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful for all you do too as well. You take good care.
Same to you.
Thanks
We'll talk soon.
everyone for
Thanks,
coming.
everybody. Nice to meet you.